The sky that night wasn't just dark. It shimmered. Not with stars, but with something else. Something alive. Ryan stood alone at the edge of the wheat field, the golden stalks brushing his fingertips as the wind whispered through them. The breeze carried a hum. Not music, not thunder. But something strange, like a voice caught between breaths, calling out in a tongue he didn't know but could almost understand. Then, the stars fell. One streak, then three. Then the entire sky lit up with trails of silver fire. But it wasn't. A meteor shower. These fell slow, with purpose, like they were searching. One light, brighter than the rest, crashed into the forest beyond the hill. Ryan didn't hesitate. The air turned sharp with heat and silence when he arrived. Trees were scorched in a perfect circle, but there was no smoke. Only a crater, glowing blue, and in the center, her. She was kneeling, wrapped in a shimmer of light, her long hair floating as if underwater. Her skin wasn't just pale, it glowed like moonlight on ice. Symbols ran across her arms and shoulders, alive and pulsing, fading in and out like breath. Her eyes, when they opened, were like galaxies, swirling with color and age. Ryan should have run. Instead, he stepped forward. She looked at him like she'd waited forever. "You heard me," she said softly, her voice smooth like velvet. "You followed." Ryan swallowed hard. "Who are you?" She smiled. "A promise. A mistake. A goddess. Maybe." His mouth opened, but nothing came out. Her fingers brushed the air between them, and Ryan felt warmth crawl through his chest. "You are human," she said, "and that makes you powerful." No one's ever said that to me before. Then they were blind. He laughed, nervous. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head slowly. "I came for you." "Me?" Her voice dropped to a whisper. "You heard the stars. That means you are mine." Before he could ask what that meant, she stood. Floating inches above the ground, she stepped closer until he could feel the strange warmth of her presence. The symbols on her skin pulsed, glowing brighter. "What's your name?" he asked, unsure if he should reach out. "Thaliris," she whispered. "Last daughter of Istra, goddess of the infinite sky. And you landed in my field. Fate brings stars to those who need light." He couldn't breathe right. She smelled like night-blooming flowers and ozone. His voice barely worked. "What do you want from me?" She leaned in, her lips nearly brushing his. "Kiss me, and I'll crown you king of men." His heart thudded like thunder. He wanted to run. He wanted to stay. He didn't know which voice inside to follow. But Thaliris waited, like the universe itself had paused to see what he would do. Ryan's breath caught as her words echoed in his mind. "Kiss me, and I'll crown you king of men." It sounded like something out of a dream, yet her voice was real, her presence undeniable. She stood so close, radiant, otherworldly. But her eyes, they held something human, loneliness, hope. He took a half step back, heart pounding. "I don't understand. I'm just a man. I live in a quiet village. I farm. I fix things. I'm nobody." Thaliris tilted her head slightly, the strands of her glowing hair floating like smoke around her. "You're more than you believe. Humanity is untamed potential. That's why I chose this world." "Chose it?" he asked. "Are you saying this was planned?" "I searched the stars," she replied, "for someone who could hold the weight of a dying crown. My realm is fading. The old ways have crumbled. But the bond of one willing heart, that can reshape destiny." Her words struck something deep in him. Maybe it was the way she said them, not as commands but as confessions. Still, He hesitated. If I kiss you, what happens? You'll become bound to me, she said gently. You will see things no human ever has. Walk through stars, command tides of fate. But more than that, you'll be mine, and I will be yours. That sounds like more than just a kiss. Her smile was soft, sad. It always is. The wind stirred around them, again warm and sweet, like spring before it's born. Ryan looked at her and realized he wasn't scared anymore. Curious, yes. Nervous, absolutely. But not scared. He stepped closer, close enough that their breaths mingled. Why me? He asked again, softer this time. Thelyris reached up and placed her cool palm against his chest, right over his heart. Because when the stars whispered, you listened. And I need someone who listens, not just with ears, but with the soul. The sincerity in her voice broke through the walls he didn't know he'd built around himself. He had spent so long feeling small in a world too large, too quiet. But here was a being older than time, and she had fallen from the heavens. For him. Slowly, gently, he leaned in. Their lips met. The moment they touched, the world vanished. Ryan wasn't standing anymore. He was floating. Not in air, not in space, but in something warm and endless, like a dream made of emotion and memory. He saw her past, stars collapsing, empires rising and burning, her face through eons, always searching. And then he saw himself, holding her hand beneath twin suns, shielding her from winds made of fire, laughing, weeping, dancing under strange moons. Their kiss deepened, not with passion, but with unity. When it ended, they were still standing in the field, but the world looked sharper, more alive. The trees glowed faintly, the stars hummed above them. Ryan blinked, dazed. What just happened? I showed you the bond, she said. Now, we begin. He looked down. A faint pattern glowed over his chest, like the symbols on her arms. They faded slowly, but he could still feel their warmth. You marked me. I crowned you, she corrected softly. Not with gold, with truth. He chuckled nervously. And now I'm king. Not yet. That path must be walked. And where does it lead? She took his hand. Her touch was gentle, but he felt power humming beneath her skin. To the heart of earth, to the place where stars dream, and to the moment where you must choose again. Another choice? Always, she whispered. That's what makes you human. They began walking toward the edge of the forest, hand in hand, the night bending around them. Above them, the stars shifted ever so slightly, as if watching their first steps together. The forest seemed different now, not darker, but deeper, like it had secrets hidden between every leaf, and now those secrets whispered to Ryan. The trees stretched taller than he remembered, and the wind carried scents he couldn't name. Sweet, strange, ancient. Thelyris walked beside him without hesitation. She didn't lead or pull. She simply moved, as if this world obeyed her presence. Birds didn't flee, leaves didn't rustle in protest. Everything stilled as she passed, as if Earth itself listened when she breathed. Ryan cleared his throat. So, where are we going exactly? To the Veil, she replied. It lies between your world and mine. I must return before the stars realign, but I cannot go alone. And what happens if you don't return? She paused, her expression dimming. I fade. My essence scatters. Without the Veil's anchor, I cannot remain whole. He looked at her. Really looked. For all her power and grace, there was something fragile beneath the glow, like glass under moonlight. Then I'll help you, he said, surprising even himself. If this veil thing keeps you from fading, Then we'll get there. A small smile tugged at her lips. You say it like, it's simple. It's not. But I've already kissed a goddess. Might as well go the full journey. She stopped, turning to face him. Her hand reached up, brushing lightly against his cheek. You speak as if I'm a myth. But I am here. Real. I feel your warmth. And you feel mine. He leaned into her touch, his voice soft. You are real. But still, kind of unbelievable. They kept walking until the trees gave way to a vast clearing. At its center stood a stone arch, tall and ancient, carved with markings that pulsed with a soft light. The air around it shimmered like heat over pavement, even though the night was cool. Ryan stared at it. That's the veil? She nodded. Yes, but it's sealed. Only a bond, true and accepted, can open it. I already kissed you. She turned to him, her eyes glowing. But you have not accepted me fully. Not yet. His brow furrowed. What does that mean? It means you must not just desire me, but believe in me. Trust me with your heart, your thoughts, your soul. Ryan stepped closer to the arch, reaching out to touch the stone. It vibrated under his fingers like a heartbeat waiting to begin. He turned back to her. I don't know if I can give that. Not yet. Thaliris nodded gently, as if she'd expected that. Then we wait. So they sat beneath the stars. The silence was full, not empty, filled with quiet understanding. Thaliris rested her head against his shoulder, her silver hair brushing his skin like silk. You don't have to rush, she whispered. I can be patient. For a little while. Ryan stared up at the stars. What does your world look like? It's made of light, she said softly. Floating cities, rivers of gold, clouds that sing lullabies. But without a soul beside me, it all feels cold. And you want to bring me there? I want to share it with you, she said. Not as a prize, not as a ruler, but as someone who looked at me and didn't run. He turned to her, his voice low. How many have run? All of them, she answered quietly. He didn't know what to say. Instead, he wrapped an arm around her, holding her close. She sighed, her body soft against his, her form glowing faintly with warmth. They stayed like that for a while. Time didn't matter. But when he finally looked toward the stone arch again, it had changed. The center shimmered. A doorway had begun to form. Thaliris sat up, surprised. You're opening it. But I didn't do anything. Yes, she whispered, eyes wide with wonder. You held me. You chose to stay. The veil pulsed, a heartbeat of starlight. And far above them, in the endless sky, something ancient stirred, watching, waiting. As the veil glowed brighter, Ryan stood slowly, his hand still warm from where it had touched Thaliris's back. She rose beside him, her gaze locked on the archway. Light swirled in the center now, like a pool of liquid stars, moving with purpose. Drawing them in, Ryan swallowed. So, this is it? Thaliris nodded, her voice almost breathless. It's opening because your heart shifted. You accepted the unknown, and that's stronger than any crown. He stared at the veil, then at her. But I didn't say anything. You didn't have to. Her smile was soft, like the first breeze of spring. Sometimes actions speak, in ways words never can. He looked down at her hand, then took it without hesitation. Let's walk through it together. Thaliris hesitated. Once we cross, you'll be different. Not just in spirit. Your body, your mind, will begin to change. You'll feel the stars inside you. Some men lose themselves in that power. Others rise. And what if I don't rise? Then I'll catch you, she said simply. That was enough for him. Together, they stepped toward the veil. The moment their feet crossed the threshold, the world exploded with light. Ryan gasped, not in pain, but in awe. His body felt weightless. Time bent and twisted. Visions swirled around him, worlds he'd never seen, creatures that shimmered with intelligence and beauty, towers of light, oceans that sparkled like diamonds. He saw Thaliris, not just as she was now, but as she had once been, standing tall on a throne of crystal, her eyes full of fire and sorrow, surrounded by beings who bowed before her but never touched her heart. And then he saw himself. Not the man who tilled fields or fixed broken fences, but a man of fire and light, wrapped in silver armor that pulsed with life, standing beside her as stars bowed low. Ryan stumbled slightly as they emerged on the other side. The world they stepped into wasn't Earth. It was Thaliris' realm. The sky shimmered with color that moved like water. Trees glowed with golden leaves. Birds with translucent wings floated like drifting lanterns. The air tasted like honey and rain. He gasped. This is real? Yes, she said, watching his reaction. This is Astra, the realm of stars. Ryan turned in a slow circle, wide-eyed. It's beautiful. I don't even have the words. You don't need them, she whispered. Your heart speaks loudly. She took him to a great garden, where tall silver flowers hummed gently. In the center stood a fountain that shimmered like starlight turned to liquid. Thaliris placed her hands in the water and turned to him. It's time. For what? He asked. To give you your crown. Ryan blinked. I thought that was a figure of speech. Her lips curved. Did it feel like one? She pulled, her hands from the water, and a shape formed. An elegant band of woven silver, alive with shifting lights. It floated in the air before her. This is not a symbol of rule, she said. It's a bond. You wear it not to command, but to understand. You will not rule over others. You will stand beside them. You are a bridge between our worlds now. A Ysir crown drifted to Ryan, hovering just above his brow. Do you accept? She asked softly. He looked at her, at the goddess who fell from the stars for him, who asked not for worship but for trust. And he realized he loved her. He nodded. I do. The crown lowered onto his head. Light exploded outward, and the sky echoed with a deep hum, like the stars themselves were singing. Thaliris stepped forward and pressed a hand to his chest. Ryan of Earth, you are no longer just a man. You are the chosen heart, the one who kissed the stars. He stared into her eyes, breathless. And you? You're mine? She smiled, cheeks glowing. Yours completely. Then she leaned in and kissed him again, this time not as a goddess claiming her bond, but as a woman offering her love. And for the first time, Ryan felt what it meant to be infinite. The stars above shimmered brighter than ever, as if celebrating their union. Ryan stood still, breathing in the strange, beautiful world around him, feeling more alive than he ever had. The crown on his head no longer felt foreign. It was like a part of him, woven into his thoughts, his heart, his soul. Thaliris held his hand, her fingers soft and warm. They walked through the garden, where petals opened as they passed, releasing soft musical chimes instead of scent. Beings of light, peeked from behind silver trees, watching silently. No fear, only curiosity. Respect. I feel different, Ryan said, glancing at his hands. Sparks of silver flickered under his skin, fading in and out like a heartbeat. Not just my body. Inside. Like something unlocked. Thaliris nodded. You've been touched by the core of the stars. The transformation has begun. But your heart remains human. That's what makes you strong. He turned to her, eyes searching. What now? I've accepted the crown. I walked through the veil. Are we finished? She smiled softly and stepped closer, slipping her arms around his waist. This is not an ending, Ryan. It's the first chapter. Earth still calls to you. And so do I. He wrapped his arms around her, pulling her close. So we return to Earth? Yes, together. Her eyes shimmered. I cannot stay long without you. But now, you are the anchor between our worlds. I no longer walk alone. He looked up at the strange, star-filled sky. Won't people see us return? See you? Glowing? She laughed quietly, the sound like stardust dancing. I can hide, if I wish. For your world I'll wear a quieter shape. A woman, plain enough to pass through crowds. But you'll always see me, Ryan. Truly see me? He grinned. You could show up in a potato sack and still stop my heart. She raised an eyebrow. A sack? It's a joke. A human thing. Then I will learn more of these jokes. They returned through the veil, stepping once again into Earth's night. The stars above seemed a little closer, a little brighter. Ryan looked up and smiled. He knew now they were watching, not as distant things, but as family. They walked back to his village hand in hand, though the path felt different now. The wind carried whispers in a language he didn't know, yet understood. The trees leaned in, recognizing him. Something ancient had awakened. They stopped outside his cottage. Everything was still. The world asleep. Thaliris turned to him. You have a choice now, Ryan. Live quietly, or walk with me between worlds. He touched her face, brushing her hair back behind her ear. I've already made my choice. Wherever you go, I follow. Her eyes softened, and her lips found his once more. The kiss this time was gentle, sweet. No magic, no visions. Just two hearts pressed together in the quiet of night. As they stood there under the stars, the crown still resting invisible upon his head, Thaliris whispered again, her breath warm against his skin. Kiss me again, and I'll remind the stars why they shine. And Ryan kissed her, deeply, fully, not as a farmer, not as a man lost in wonder, but as the king of men, crowned by the love of the goddess of the stars. The end.